scheduling new visa interviews for foreign students while the department reviews its vetting procedures. He further stated that the review will result in new guidance requiring deeper scrutiny of applicants' online activities. The move aligns with Trump's broader immigration agenda, which includes tougher enforcement, deportations, and visa revocations. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the U.S. will use every tool to assess who's coming into the country, including the students. Several hundred protesters, including Harvard University students and professors, demonstrated in support of foreign students at the Harvard campus, while also protesting Trump administration's efforts to cut off funding to the university. Let us listen to what one of the professors at Harvard has said.
And look, I know it may surprise you because he seems so obsessed with us, but Donald Trump doesn't actually care about Harvard. He wants to take Harvard down because universities stand for free ideas and for free speech.
In another development, the Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee has invited students from Harvard University to continue their studies in Hong Kong, as he further stressed on safeguarding their education. Let us listen to what he said.
Hong Kong will welcome any students who have been discriminated by the U.S. policy, who face difficulties to study or continue their studies in the U.S. universities. We welcome them to come to Hong Kong to continue their studies in our university.
We have guest Professor Jim Rice of International Law joining us from Vigan, Philippines. Professor, thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
What are the potential consequences for Harvard if the Trump administration successfully terminates $100 million in federal contracts?
Well, if I can just address the remarks by the chief executive of Hong Kong, John Lee, to invite students to attend Hong Kong universities, I just find this the height of hypocrisy. I was a professor in Hong Kong University for 26 years, and I could see gradually the controls imposed by the government over academic freedom and institutional autonomy. And ultimately, I was forced to flee Hong Kong because of their draconian national security law. So I would suggest that it would be a mistake to attend a Hong Kong university or to teach there. But regarding your question, and thank you for that, the Trump administration has essentially been doing the same thing that the Hong Kong regime did ever since the Chinese government took control of Hong Kong in 1997. And the Trump administration, since his inauguration, has been attempting to seize control of all aspects of the university, including student admissions, which we can see right now in terms of hiring of faculty, tenure, even to the degree of controlling the curriculum. So both Hong Kong and the Trump administration are trying to stifle academic freedom and gain control of the universities. And that professor from Harvard that you just aired a moment ago is absolutely right. The universities embody freedom of thought and freedom of expression.
That's really interesting, and probably students have no clue that this is going on in Hong Kong University.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. This is a really important point that I want to stress. And in addition to that, in addition to what happened to me, several of my colleagues were also terminated from their positions, and some of them were forced to flee Hong Kong as well.
And going back to the topic of Harvard, how might this clash reflect broader tensions between academic institutions and federal immigration policies?
Okay, well, as we know, Trump is, after he imposed his ban on or prohibition of Harvard from recruiting foreign students, a court almost immediately imposed a ruling of a temporary restraining order. And Trump will lose this in court. There's no question about it. It's a violation of the Constitution, and Trump will lose, even if he takes it to the Supreme Court. But what Trump is doing here is a kind of a death of 1,000 cuts by constantly subjecting the students, the faculty, and the administration of Harvard to almost daily attacks. What they're doing is just traumatizing the university, the students. I'm sure that there will be several students from India, for example, who, upon hearing the hostility that the Trump administration has for foreign students, will probably choose to go to Oxford or Cambridge instead of an institution like Harvard. And it's a great pity because the United States has long depended upon foreign students from countries all over the world, including India and China, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, to benefit in terms of research and adding to the university life. I myself was a overseas student at Cambridge University, and I'm constantly grateful for the experiences that I had there.
And building on to that point that you've mentioned, that government, how much of control should government have on schools? To what extent should universities be held accountable for compliance with federal policies or data vetting, such as social media checks?
Oh, well, the faculty, the universities, and students are all required to obey the law. I mean, obviously, no one is above the law, and that's the idea of the rule of law, that no one is above the law. However, the idea that one can run afoul of the administration for thought crimes, for posts which, and here in your own report, it was so vague and unclear what kind of social media posts would be considered offensive or objectionable by the diplomats in overseas consulates and embassies. Would it be criticizing Trump? Would it be criticizing the Israeli government over the Gaza war? What would these comments on social media be? Nobody knows. And so the law can't be like that. The law can't act as a kind of a chill on freedom of expression.
And building on that point, how could this dispute influence future relationships between the federal government and the other U.S. educational institutions?
That's a great point. I think that Harvard is just the first one. The Trump administration would intend to exert its control over many other universities as well. So Harvard is standing in the way, and it's crucially important that Harvard fights this and wins it. And it's important as well that all other universities in the United States and around the world hold the line in terms of academic freedom and university or institutional autonomy. It's of vital importance to us all.
And last but not least, if you can maybe predict or hint at what legal arguments could Harvard present in Thursday's court hearing to challenge the contract cancellations?
That's another point that I didn't mention in my longish answers. And I'm sorry for that. These purported cancellations of contracts would appear on their face to be illegal. When you enter into a contract with a private party or the government, it's a binding contract. And the government can't just say, we wish to cancel these contracts because they want to. So again, this will be settled in court, and I'm confident that the Trump administration is going to lose.
Thank you very much, Professor